Hey everyone, so today I want to talk about Sex Story 50 Shades of Grey, which was on Channel 4 last week at some point. And basically, as the title suggests, this looks at 50 Shades of Grey. Now, if you don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is, where have you been? This is one of the most quickest selling books of all time, and I think if I've got this right, in Britain it is the quickest selling book, or the first book to sell a certain amount of million copies in the shortest space of time. Basically, it outsold Harry Potter in the UK, which is kind of one of the things that's pushing this book. But it's kind of like, well, yeah, but that's not a massive thing, you know. Generally speaking, we are a country of perverts. We prefer sex to wizards. So I'm not exactly surprised that it outsold Harry Potter, but never mind, that's not the point. Um, so this does look at the effects of 50 Shades of Grey, rather than kind of how well the book is written. It does at some point sort of say there's this issue with it, or you know, a certain person has thought that maybe this particular scene wasn't written that well, but it's not looking at the style of the book. It's not looking at specific literary aspects of it. It is just looking at how explosive it is and the effects it has on various other aspects. I will say just now that I haven't actually read the book, so I did kind of watch this kind of thinking, I'll watch this and then I'll decide whether or not I'm going to read it. To be honest, I'm not going to read it. I think the reason most people read it is curiosity, and I think now I've pretty much understood what happens in the book on every single page because everybody's talking about it. So I know what it's about. I've heard 1,001 extracts from the million sex scenes that are in it. So I've kind of basically read it as it is, but I haven't read it. So part of this program may be to encourage people to read it if they haven't and drive more book sales. I'm not going to read it. The program is very, very well done though. I think the editing of it and the piecing together of all the different segments is perfect. And that's part of the reason why I watched the entire thing. Not a lot is said, to be honest. It's an hour long. And basically all it's saying is it sold a lot of copies. It's encouraged people to be more adventurous in the bedroom. There's a particular segment with Ann Summers where it looks at their sales and the specific items that have increased in sale. And it's quite weird to look at the items that have sold. I think there was one particular item which has gone up 15 times what it used to sell before this book was released. So it's weird to say that a publication of one book has an impact on an entire different but technically related sector, and I think that's quite a fascinating aspect. There are different celebrities, writers and things having their input. I say celebrities, it is basically writers, publishers and Amy Childs. So you have all these people who are very influential in the world of literature and writing. Brooke, what's her surname? Belger. Brooke, her surname, I can't remember it. But she had quite a bit to say, which was great because I love her. I think she's fantastic. As far as 50 Shades of Grey versus Belle de Jour go, of course Belle de Jour is going to win. But once this 50 Shades of Grey film is kind of out there, everyone's going to obsess over it. So I'm going to avoid the cinema when that's out because I'm not going to see it. Actually, no, I might, just because it'll be quite different. I'll talk about that if I watch it. Very interesting program in that sense. There are very clever scenes, well directed, basically sex scenes in this, which first of all gives you a taste of what this film might be like, but also kind of allows you to visualise these scenes in the book if you've not read it, which I think is kind of a weird aspect and not what I'd expected from this program. It does make it a bit more engaging than just people talking about the book. There's a look at a book club somewhere as well, and they're having a book club discussion about it. So there are a lot of varied opinions about this. I'd almost say it's as much as Marmite. Some people love it or hate it. But nobody I've talked to who's read it has actually said, really well written, best book ever. The chapters end on really high points and it's really gritty and you're hooked on the story. Nobody I know has said that. So I'm not saying it's a poorly written book, I'm just saying that's not what people are focusing on. This book will not be going down in history as being the greatest, the most well-written book of all time. It will go down as being the filthiest book of all time. And we Brits laugh that up completely. So maybe one day I'll read it, I don't know. But this programme I think is very fascinating regardless of whether or not you're going to read the book. I just think it's really well put together. It's just really enjoyable to watch as a TV programme. I think all the elements are in there to make the perfect TV package, and I really did enjoy that. Yeah, so definitely go and watch it. Also, E.L. James is a woman. What on earth? I didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't think E.L. James was a man. I just didn't ever consider the gender of the author because I really wasn't interested. But then when it said that E.L. James, Erica James, is a woman, I was like, oh, okay, this book doesn't seem as filthy anymore. There's just something less perverted about a woman writing this sort of thing than there is a man. I know that's stereotyping, and I don't mean that. That's not my opinion, that's just the way it goes. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on Sex Story. It is brilliant. One of the best programs I've seen on Channel 4 in quite a while, as far as the production of it and the quality of it. It's brilliant. Also, let me know your thoughts on 50 Shades, and if you've read it. The program doesn't actually talk about the trilogy. Yeah, it doesn't actually mention the other two. What is it? 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed or something? I'm not entirely sure. But it doesn't actually talk about the other two. So I'm kind of like, that's weird. But never mind. Let me know your thoughts on this and the books if you read them, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.